What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Friday weather update for Friday, November 1st, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily weather update for the United States and sometimes talk about weather stories or extreme weather around the world. So if you're new, subscribe to my channel down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. And leave your comments down below. The more people that hit that like button, the more YouTube is going to push this content throughout the algorithm because it signals, hey, people like this content. Alrighty, starting off today with something local here from where I'm at. For the first time in over 30 days. Yes, take a look at this. This was me this morning. For the first time in over 30 days, I saw raindrops. Yeah, it's been really dry. You can see here, I had to flick the windshield wipers a couple times because there were raindrops here in southeast Pennsylvania. Something we have not seen in a very long time and something that we need to see more of because we are in a severe drought around here. Taking a look at the satellite picture around the United States, you can see that boundary that came through the Northeast this morning. It is still providing some moisture in the south, and some moisture from the Gulf will make its way back northwest into Texas. It's not going to make its way much more south this boundary. It is going to get hung up. Taking a look at the radar picture, you can see here, there's that moisture. Yeah, not a whole lot, but there is quite a bit over Louisiana, and you could use the rainfall, so this is some good news for you. There are some heavier showers within this, and some of that moisture will make its way back to the northwest. And look what's sitting off the coast of Texas. We'll have to keep our eyes on that as well. And of course, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, this whole corridor is going to be quite active over the next several days, even up into portions of the Midwest and Great Lakes. You can see some showers now over Dallas, and we're continuing to see some showers, rain, and even mountain snows in the Pacific Northwest up in the Dakotas. Take a look at this. There is just a weak disturbance that is coming through right now. Not expecting much with that. And up in New England, we do have some showers making their way through Maine right now with another system that is exiting the picture as well. Alright, taking a look at the National Hazards Map. Let's refresh this. Get this up to date. And you can see here, they have now added red flag warnings up for portions of the Northeast. This is pretty significant. And flood watches have now been issued for portions of Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico, where I do think there is the potential for some flooding this weekend, on top of severe weather. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit. The Pacific Northwest, you can see, mountain snows are becoming a thing, so we'll keep our eyes on that. And over the weekend, I'll be sure to give you some snowfall totals of what occurs from that, observed snowfall totals. It's getting to be that time of year once again. Alright, we have to talk about the tropics today because there's been a bit of an upgrade. Yes, look at this. This tropical disturbance, this area of unorganized weather we've been talking about for a long time now. Well, now in the 7-day forecast, it is now up to 70% chance of formation, which means code red. Yes, something we have to watch, and modeling is still showing that this system could develop. Now take a look here at the day 2 forecast. Yes, even day 2 now is up to 30%. I don't think it's going to become a named system in the next couple days, but early next week, it could become a named system. We also have a disturbance now that is near Puerto Rico. And then we have another disturbance way out here in the Atlantic. Not concerned about that one. It's this guy down here that I'm really concerned about. And let's take a look at the satellite picture. First off, you can see near Puerto Rico that other disturbance. There is a little bit of a spin with that, and there is some thunderstorm development, but really, it is down here in the southern Caribbean, which I am more concerned about. And you don't see a lot of action right now, but as time goes on, there'll be more convective activity over the weekend, and it could organize at least into a tropical depression or tropical storm. Then all eyes become on what path does it take. If it takes the correct path, it could come into a more favorable environment. Let's take a look at the models. First off, here's the GFS, and the GFS is really interesting. GFS has been hinting at that Puerto Rico system actually maybe becoming something, but today it backed off a little bit. But look what it does with the area that we're most concerned about. Yes, it does develop it into a tropical storm as early as Monday, And then if I advance this, it goes straight up to a hurricane. And yes, it does go over Cuba and into the Gulf of Mexico. And then it kind of gets stuck there for a while. You'll see here, it really moves slowly towards Mexico and then the Texas border. And it takes a long time for it to do that. However, let's go back now and let's go to another model. Here's the 12Z Canadian model and what the Canadian shows. The Canadian, it does develop the system a bit weaker when it's near Cuba, but take a look at this. Yes, it does also go into the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm, but in this case, it goes up near Florida, similar to near where Milton hit, and does provide some well-needed rainfall for places on the east that are really dry. Now let's take a look at yet another model. I don't usually show the icon model, but in this case, I want to show you as many models as possible to give you the idea that we're starting to get some agreement on a potential system that could go into the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see here on the icon and on all the modeling guidance, there is going to be a blocking high in the Atlantic. So it can't really, develop, go over Cuba, and exit stage right. Can it go closer to Florida or somewhere else in the Gulf? Sure. But the exit stage right can't really do that because you have a blocking high pressure. And take a look where the icon model, the German model, it kind of just fizzles it before it gets to the Gulf Coast states. Now let's take a look at the latest GEFS ensemble, and I will reverse this and show you the members and watch what happens here. You can see here, there is strong agreement that we have a system as early as Monday morning. So that's something we'll be watching all weekend long. Of course, there is not an invest name for this yet, so because of that, I can't show you the tropical models, tropical plots, or intensity just yet, but I think probably maybe by tomorrow, we might be able to do that, and we'll be able to get the first take of where the tropical models think this could go. But you can see, on the GEFS, which is the ensemble of the GFS, look what happens when it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Pretty wide disagreement. Some go to the southwest, some go more north. So the one thing I think that is really certain at this point, we will have a developed system, at least a tropical depression, and then, who knows, we could get our next named storm system, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. And once it hits the Gulf, questions really remain, just where is it going to go? And that we probably won't figure out till later in the weekend, but one thing's for certain. You can even see it here on the GEFS. There is a block in the Atlantic. It cannot exit into the Atlantic. It's just a question, will this become a stronger storm system? And where will it go? The Gulf of Mexico, what will it do for Cuba? Will it become named before Cuba? A lot of questions to be answered. Hopefully we will get those answers this weekend. Alright, taking a look at from yesterday, the drought update. Not much to be said here. A lot of places in the United States are dealing with drought, and would you believe it? Portions of North Carolina, the surrounding where Asheville is, not in Asheville, but surrounding there, yeah, it's getting dry. It's time for some rain again. You could use a little bit of rain. Not a major rain, but you could use a little bit. Other places could use a good amount of rain. Take a look at this. Days 1 through 7 precipitation forecast. Yes, you're starting to see here, from Texas right on up into the Great Lakes, it's gotten even more impressive, and because of that being more impressive, take a look at this here. Excessive rainfall. Yes, that is getting more impressive as well. There is a slight risk up for portions of New Mexico today. And for tomorrow, Texas, Oklahoma, portions of Kansas, and Missouri have a slight risk. Then this is something that doesn't happen very often. Although, in these times, it's been happening more frequently. A day 3 moderate risk for portions of Oklahoma, portions of Missouri, and even portions of Kansas and northwest Arkansas with a slight risk surrounding that. What does that mean? Well, the threat of flash flooding and flooding is pretty significant, and you'll see when we get to the models. It is looking to be pretty impressive. Alright, let's take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center's calling for, because yes, there is a severe weather aspect for this as well. Marginal risk today for portions of Texas and New Mexico. Less than 2% for tornadoes, but as we head into tomorrow, this gets a little bit more impressive. There is now a 5% area for tornadoes across southwest portions of Texas, 2% surrounding that, which means there could be a few isolated tornadoes tomorrow. Wind, 15%. Hail is 15%, with even a hatched area. It would not surprise me if tomorrow this slight risk expands a little bit, and maybe even enhanced risk gets added within this. Then on day 3, an even larger area of slight risk from portions of Texas on up into Oklahoma, Kansas, and even southern Nebraska. Again, isolated tornadoes possible with this as well. And if you take a look here, yes, threats Saturday, Sunday, and even on Monday. Monday, a much more expansive area, and there could be isolated tornado with that as well. Take a look at NATOcast. This is a model that composites some of the high-res computers and shows us where there's potential for tornadoes. And you can see NATOcast for tomorrow is actually saying there could be a 10% chance on either side of 25 miles. So, yeah, this is something that we have to keep an eye on. Once again, wouldn't surprise me if you see an upgrade to an enhanced risk for tomorrow. Let's take a look at the NAM. We're going to use the 12Z run here, and we can see on the NAM, in the Pacific Northwest, your showers, rain, and mountain snow will continue. In the east, that front pretty much is gone from the picture. It's going to be a much cooler day tomorrow across portions of the Northeast. I know for some, yes, it has once again hit 80 degrees on November 1st. And that will not be the case tomorrow, I can assure you that. But look what happens tomorrow. Here's Texas. Here's portions of New Mexico. Look at this heavy rainfall that sets up. Yeah, you see there are some training segments, and then you do see there's kind of a couple bow echo segments. That's where we could see some wind, isolated tornado, and the risk of hail. And this rainfall does make its way up into the Midwest, which is good news because you do need the rainfall. What you don't need is the severe weather. And then here comes Monday, Sunday into Monday, I should say, and you can see another risk, and then again on Monday itself. So it's going to be quite the active stretch, and that is why there are so many different hazards out there, such as the flood watch, the moderate risk of excessive rainfall on day 3, and all the slight risk for severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. Here's the NAM just through 84 hours. And in some places it will still be raining, and already it's showing 3 to 5, locally 6 inches of rainfall. So yes, all this rain in a short period of time will cause the potential for flooding. You can see another 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in the Pacific Northwest, maybe locally higher precipitation amounts in the mountainous region, and not a lot of precipitation in the east at this time. Alright, taking a look now at what goes on with the GFS, and you can see here on the GFS, that system in the Northwest does eventually come on. Sure, there'll be another wave of energy again on Sunday. Until then, you get a brief break, and then look what happens on Monday. Yet another system comes on. Here in the plains, come Monday, here's where we stand with the severe weather, and there will be threats of severe weather, maybe even on Tuesday, as well as this front will push east. But like oh so many fronts before, look what happens. It just dries up. Why? Because you have this ridge, this high that's in the Atlantic that's preventing anything significant from happening. And there's that potential tropical threat that will make it into the Gulf of Mexico. It's just a question mark of where it's going to go. And as we continue on here, we can see here, look at the eastern U.S. Really dry. New York, Washington, Philadelphia, Boston. Great Lakes become dry once again. Chicago, after you will see some rainfall this weekend, things do dry out as we head into late next week. And one quick note, let's back up the GFS for a second. Here's Election Day, which is next week. If you're anywhere along the East Coast, no excuse to not go out in boats, and no excuse really for a lot of places. Maybe you have a little bit of an excuse in the Pacific Northwest, but really, for the most part, it should not be a terrible day for the voters to go out and cast their ballots. Alrighty, moving on now to the Climate Prediction Center. Above average on a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook in the east, below average in the Four Corners region, slightly above average temperatures in the northwest, and the northern plains, such as places like in the Great Lakes as well, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit. Yep, temperatures are not going to feel like they're supposed to for this time of year. And take a look at this. Really interesting 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Above average in the plains, but then you go to the north, and it's below average along that I-90 corridor and I-94. Yeah, right up into New England. I'm telling you that for some places, especially the northeast, we'll say like D.C. on northward, I'm really concerned with how dry it is in that area. Slightly above average precipitation in the northwest, and yeah, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Above average once again. I don't see any significant sustained cold weather in the east, and I don't see any significant rainfall for the Northeast, at least not in the next 7 to 10, maybe even 8 to 14 day time frame. I mean, of course, down here along the Gulf Coast, all this is subject to change. We have to watch what happens with the tropical system. I mean, if it does really get going, then obviously somewhere down here would see much above precipitation. And take a look at this. New Mexico, Arizona, 8 to 14 days below average precipitation for you. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Friday weather update. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, though we'll be here with you all weekend long. I'll have an update for you tomorrow, and again on Sunday. We're going to be watching the tropics, we're going to be watching the severe weather, and I'm going to be watching the flood threat as well. So it is going to be a rather busy weekend for various different areas. And of course, if we do get a named system this weekend, I will pop on here with a video on that. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again over the weekend.